In the last video, we had some bad news about the Chevy Nova. This video is an update for that, and it involves some pretty good news. You'll see right here, this is the flywheel inspection cover for the car. You have the starter where it goes into the bell housing, and then the mounting places for the bolts where it mounts to the bell housing. And then this is the top part where it slides up behind the engine. You'll notice that this corner right here is severely mangled and bent. It is supposed to be straight like that one over there, but this one obviously is not. If we come over to the engine, we have this not so attractive cover on it, but that is to keep the dust and everything off the engine as much as possible. But if we take a look at the back where the crankshaft is, you'll see this section here that sticks up out, and then this section down here that kind of sticks out, and we think that's what's hitting that place. We think that when we were putting this inspection cover back in after replacing the oil pan, that maybe we didn't have it quite exactly in place. We were under the car, we couldn't really see a whole lot, but we thought we had it sliding up in place, but maybe we were off just a little bit. And when we pushed it up and in to bolt it in, it bent a little bit. We think that caused the crankshaft to start hitting it, and maybe it just wasn't hitting it a lot at first, just kind of catching the edge of it, which is why we didn't notice it. But then over time, it just kind of bent it worse and worse and worse until we were hearing that very loud, very dangerous sounding vibration from the engine area. But if that is all that the issue is, we should be able to get this engine back together pretty quickly. We're gonna take the oil pan off, look at the bottom end and everything, and my dad's friend Bobby's gonna come out and kind of go over what we found and look at the engine with us and help confirm that this appears to be the issue, so that we can hopefully just get the engine back together and not have to worry about it moving forward. Now that would normally mean we would be back up and running for some car shows very soon, but we are going to see if Bobby will take the transmission with him and go through it and rebuild it again. When we drove the car to Dallas for the car show, going down the road, we noticed that it was kicking out of fourth gear pretty often. I mean, it wasn't like continuously having to pull it back in, but every now and then it would kick out of fourth gear into neutral. And obviously you don't want a transmission doing that. We don't know if a synchro gear is off a little bit or something, but we're gonna see if he will take the transmission and go through it and make sure that it's good to go moving forward. But because we don't have another transmission to put in the car with the engine, we can't have the car ready for shows until we get the transmission back. So right now, I think we're kind of looking at September maybe for car shows. We definitely have to have this ready for the Rod Run. That is always the goal, to get it up to the Rod Run. And since we've got a lot more of the car finished than we had last year, I definitely want to get the car up there. If we can get the transmission back in a decent amount of time, maybe we can look at some local car shows between now and then, but right now our focus is having everything 100% mechanically working reliably so we don't have to worry about it. And then the Rod Run is where we definitely want to get the car to. So with that being said, I think we should skip forward to the next update in this video, which is going to be getting the transmission back and going over kind of what Bobby found and hopefully getting the car back ready to be on the road. All right, so snapping the fingers didn't really work. We've got an update that I was not expecting coming in this video before we get to the engine and transmission. You may notice looking behind me, the garage looks a little different. We have plastic lining the walls all over the place, and we've filled in some insulation along the ceiling. We've done that because my dad has turned this into a paint booth. As you can see, the car is no longer nice and shiny from the clear coat. We've sanded the car down, done a little bit of painting, got a few coats on there. And the reason we've done that is because there are just some places in the paint that weren't really looking real good. There were some bad places, some places that weren't quite coated really well. And we just wanted to kind of fix everything, especially since there was so much orange peel in the clear coat. Even after we did the sanding, wet sanding and buffing and polishing that we did in that short that I posted a while back, there was still just a lot of orange peel in the car that we didn't like, especially when we got it out in the sun. So now we are respraying. My dad's already sprayed a couple of coats on the blue. We had taped off the silver stripes and everything so he could spray the blue. That's the main part we were fixing. The stripes didn't look real bad. We had a couple of places that we touched up, taped off the blue around them and touched them up and got them repainted. But yeah, so we've got some painting done on the car. It still has a little bit more to go. My dad wants to put a few more coats of blue on it and then clear. And then once that has some time to cure well, then we'll start putting the car back together, because as you can see, looking at the car, we had to take quite a bit of stuff off. Tail lights are out. We got the door panels off so that we could seal the interior of the doors really well to make sure paint didn't flow in here and into the interior and onto the seats and the dash. And of course, as you already know, the engine is out. And we've also taken a lot of stuff kind of off the front, bumpers and everything's off the car. Headlights are still in. Got all that stuff taped up, but bumpers off. We got the emblems off the side of the car. Just anything that would have been kind of difficult to tape up, we went ahead and took it off the car. I apologize if my angles are a little off on the part of the videos where I'm showing myself. I've got a new gimbal that I'm working with, still trying to get used to it and figure it out. Trying to just make my videos a little smoother, a little better, but gonna take some getting used to. But yeah, so that's where we're at right now. You can see over here where we've taken some of the tape off this window here. So we had all of this taped up. If you saw on the other side, that window is still taped up. So we've taken some of this off, but we're gonna be retaping it to finish spraying. But yeah, so we turned this into a paint booth. We have white plastic on all the walls to help keep the light really kind of focused into the garage. We have LEDs that we've installed, these LED strips along the walls here. We've got one there, one horizontal one there, a vertical one there. We've got 3 vertical ones over here on this side. We've got a few up here on the ceiling on this side of the main beam, and then some over here as well. So we've really added some light. Tried to turn this into as good of a kind of homemade paint booth as we could. We put up these walls. So this used to just be one big area where it went all the way to our workbench in the back wall. But as you can see, we've put up some additional walls, kind of made an extra room there so we could seal it off, put stuff in there, keep it from getting blue, because as you can see, there is blue everywhere from what we've sprayed. And this is after we've done a major cleanup of the garage from the first few coats of paint. This is another room that we put up. So we put up walls, actual walls. We put up plastic on those walls. We put insulation on the ceiling to seal off the rafters. Just doing anything we can to keep the garage clean. Just trying to keep trash out of the paint and get this paint job as good of a chance as we can to being what we want. There will probably be a little bit of orange peel in the clear. It's kind of hard to get a 0% orange peel clear spray without wet sanding and buffing and polishing anyway. But there was just so much in that original clear that was done on the car that we just decided to completely redo it. As of recording this portion of the video, we have 2 weeks and 2 days to get everything finished, to get the car back together before we leave for the Pigeon Forge Rod Run for 2024. Apparently, we like to put ourselves in a bit of a time crunch when we're doing these things. So it looks like, again, for this year, we have another hashtag race to the rod run. Will we make it in time? We've got a lot to do. The only way for you to find out is to subscribe and hit that little bell notification button. For now, I hope you like our paint booth. There will be at least one more video posted of the reassembly and letting you know if we made it by our deadline to leave for Pigeon Forge. But for now, this is Southpaw Garage signing out.